Hey guys, welcome to my video newsletter for the months of February and March. I think it has been a couple months since I did my last one. Definitely been super busy. I wish I had been able to do once a month like I was doing earlier in the year, but just busyness and of life has stopped me from doing that. But it's good stuff because yeah, we've seen a lot of good, and God has just worked so much in the past couple months, and it's really been beautiful. Um, yeah, so I'll just update you guys on what I've been doing for the last couple of months on mission. And then at the end, I actually have some exciting news, but I'll leave that to the end. It's concerning what I'm doing next year, so just stay tuned. So the last time that I left you guys, we were going to head off to a place called New Ross. New Ross is a town north of us, but in the same county. We were up there doing 4 confirmation retreats. We were with a priest named Father Oren. He was great. We did a lot of fun stuff. I did some spontaneous altar serving at some masses that he was saying. We were at a retreat actually at one of the schools, and we were talking about hearing God's voice in prayer, right? And I had a student who was in my small group, and he was saying, like, I really struggle to hear God's voice in prayer. I've never heard it before. In fact, I actually don't even believe in God. And he went out to recess, and he came back in, and he said, Nick, like I was outside, and I was hearing, I was playing football, and I heard God, say hi to me or something like that. And I was just like, hey man, that's great. And yeah, it was really cool. But it was some beautiful confirmation retreats there. We were staying at the house that Father Oren provided. It was his house, but he had so many extra rooms, and so we were staying there. And I had asked if we could set aside a room for prayer, and maybe have the Blessed Sacrament exposed in that room perpetually for the weekend, so we could do our personal prayer that we do in the mornings down there. And he said, actually, we have a spare tabernacle upstairs. So I went and got this tabernacle and brought it downstairs, and we set up a chapel in one of his rooms. And Father Oren actually said he was going to try after we left to like redecorate the room, and have it as a permanent chapel in the house, which is going to be really cool. Hopefully it still happens. We did actually get some sad news. Just about a week after we left, Father Oren actually passed away. He had a heart attack, and so please, pray for the repose of his soul. He was really young; he was only in his 50s, but just pray for him. And but it was a great experience there. Then we came back to our home base, which is in Gorey, and we did some retreats actually for the secondary school. We had been in the secondary school all year, but it was the first time that we got to do full-scale retreats with the students. We did a retreat for first years and second years, which would be 7th and 8th graders, and that was great. They had all had a confirmation retreat with Net Ministries. You know what? That was actually just first years, because all of them had a confirmation retreat the previous year with our net team, and so they were all coming in, and they already knew how it worked, and we had a great time with them. And then the second retreat we did was with second and third years. It was a little bit more difficult. So that had been 8th grade and freshman year, and it was definitely a little bit less responsive. A lot of them hadn't had a net retreat, so they didn't really know what was going on and didn't seem as responsive to it. But especially during the prayer time, like, it was amazing to seeing them all quiet down and like focus in and have that time of silence. It was really beautiful. And then the retreat that we did after that was for the 4th and 5th years. And so they, believe it or not, they had definitely, like, I think a couple of the second years had a net retreat, but none of these guys had ever been on a retreat before. But for whatever reason, they were probably the most responsive group to it. And when we had our prayer time, all of these students came up to, ask us if we could pray with them and things like that. It was so good. And yeah, they responded really well. And even after retreat, there was one girl in particular who came back and talked to a girl on my team, Elizabeth, and she said, I don't really care about my faith I didn't really care about my faith that much for most of my life, but I want to get back into it. What are the first few steps that I can take? So that was just, really cool, really beautiful. So we had those 3 retreats that week, and then we went back into our normal 2 weeks of Gorey ministry, which is just like confirmation classes, first communion classes, and then our classes in Gorey Community. And we had a couple of cool things that we those couple weeks. So we've been preparing our sixth graders for confirmation all year. So we've been coming in, twice a month and doing these classes for them. And we finally those couple of weeks we got to start seeing the first confirmations happen. So it was confirmation season, and we got to see them get confirmed and go to their confirmations, which was just beautiful. Especially, because it's like the climax of the whole year, seeing them get confirmed and seeing them all get dressed up and everything. And it was really good. And, just going up and saying hi and wishing them congratulations and things like that. So that was great. We also had a retreat for fifth and sixth graders. We did in some schools that got so in some of the schools, especially the really small schools, they do a confirmation every 2 years. And so they have the fifth and sixth graders get confirmed together. Just so they don't really have enough, like they might have like 10 students in their class. But they, so they'll have like a joint confirmation with the fifth and sixth graders instead of doing just the sixth graders every year. And so we did a retreat for the fifth and sixth graders in these, or for the sixth graders in this school that had already been confirmed last year. And that was really beautiful. And it was just so cool, because they had their confirmation retreat. They had their confirmation last year, but it was just sort of this message of like, this isn't over. Your Christian life has just begun. And we had one of our priests that we see really regular, Father Tomas, and he was in and he exposed the Blessed Sacrament for us. And then he heard confessions of the students, and he was amazed because all of these students, a lot of them who hadn't been to confession, since they were second grade, and since they were 7 or 8 years old, going to confession for the first time, like they don't really even go to mass, and they were like coming to confession because something about like being in the presence of Jesus, especially as a youth, like I heard from a priest, it like awakens their conscience and it makes them aware of higher things, and then it makes them aware of what's inside and where they're lacking or where they need to grow, and so it awakens this desire for confession. And so all of them and Father Tomasino just came up afterwards and he was like, this is amazing, like how did you guys do that? And I was like, look, it's not us, man, it's all Jesus working through us. And yeah, so that was those couple weeks that we did in Gorey. After that, we did, so we went to Belfast, actually, for our discernment day. And so that was a day that all the net missionaries get to come together and sort of just, take a day and hear some talks, especially about, should I come back for a second year or should I leave and go back home? And basically the message is like, is God done with whatever work he's doing here in us in Ireland? And so honestly, I had already pretty much came to a decision at that point. So my big struggle over that day was like, I don't need to rediscern anything. Like I've already sort of made my decision here. And so, but it was still good. We got to see all of the net missionaries from all the different teams. We all got to come together and have a little reunion. And yeah, it was a good time. So we were in the north of Ireland. It was really interesting, because in the north, especially in the cities like Belfast and Derry, they have a lot of like anti-Catholic graffiti, a lot of anti-Catholic murals and things like that. And some of them are like commissioned by the city. And it's a really strange environment because especially in America, you don't have this group, you'll still have people who are hostile and don't like your faith, but they won't speak out against it. And they will. And honestly, religion is much more of like in America, I feel like the sense of it is like, oh yeah, whatever makes you feel good. Like this is just something that you do that makes you happy. So go ahead. Obviously it's not, obviously it's the most important thing we'll ever do with our lives, but, it like God is like he is everything. He's existence itself. But here it's very much more like in Northern Ireland, especially, it's very cultural and it's very divisive and hostile. And so it was really strange, but they still have good Catholic communities up there. So we got to be in Belfast for the discernment day, which was really nice. And then afterwards, we went to Letterkenny, which is still in the Republic, but it's in the really northern part of Ireland. So still in the south, but it's in the northern part of the south, I suppose. And so we did a confirmation retreat there. It was great. I was struggling, like the accent up there is so thick, and I really couldn't understand the students. But we had a priest. His name was Father Anthony. He was actually a net missionary on Net Ireland maybe 10 years ago. And so it was cool, because he was a net missionary doing retreats like these, and then went and became a priest. And now he was the priest who was at the confirmation retreat, exposing Jesus in the school and hearing confessions. And yeah, it was really good. And so and then we had St. Patrick's Day in Letterkenny. It's a holy day of obligation in Ireland, and mass is said in Irish. So I couldn't understand a word of it, but it was still beautiful. And the cathedral was just packed. And then we went up to Derry for the St. Patrick's Day parade, which was great. And then after that, we traveled to Galway. We had 2 confirmation retreats that we did in Galway, and it was a great time. Both of them I think the more that I do ministry, the easier that it gets. And the easier that it gets, the more I love it and the more I can enter in. And I just had fun with those 2 retreats, and they were a blast. And it was these boy students, who like very, I'm a dude, like weeping in front of the Blessed Sacrament and going to confession. And, we had to like cut off the line for confession because it was just going too long and there was too many students lined up. And luckily they had an opportunity to do it in the next couple of days, but just beautiful stuff. And, it was great. And the priest there was hilarious. He's a pretty young priest, like in his 40s. He actually said private mass for us at the host home that we were staying at, and it was really good. And so then after Galway, so the whole team traveled back to Gorey for our next couple of weeks, and then they dropped me off in Dublin, and so I went up to the Youth 2000 event, which was in Belfast, and that was just a weekend retreat of all of the youth in like the northern quarter of Ireland, and so the region called Ulster. And so I was at the Ulster Youth 2000 event, and it was so good. And it was good to just like take a second, go back to the basics of like because they sort of center their retreat around like the pillars of like Jesus in the Eucharist, the Blessed Virgin Mary, Scripture, and living the Christian life. And so it was good to take a break and reconnect. And I got to altar serve all throughout the weekend. I got to altar serve for the Bishop of Belfast, Bishop of Down and Connor, so different diocese. But Bishop Allen, he was great, and so fun. Got to meet a lot of cool people. And then that was it. And then we traveled down here. We are doing a week. We're going to be in Gorey for the next 5 weeks. So we have a week here. This week we're doing a Holy Week camp. We're doing 2 Holy Week camps, one for the primary school, one for the secondary school. Primary school's in the morning, secondary school's in the afternoon. And sort of just, delving deep and like trying to prepare them for Good Friday and Easter Sunday and the Triduum. And it's been really, really fun. And then the next couple of weeks we'll be doing our normal Gorey ministry. And then, and then the week after this, actually, we're having our 3rd supervisor visit. So that's the week when the supervisors just check in with us, see how we're doing and everything like that. And so, that's about it. That's pretty much all that's new been happening with me. So I guess I will share about what I'm doing next year. So I actually signed on to do a year of staff with Net Ministry. So I will be coming back to Ireland next year. Exciting news. And it's going to be really good. I'm really excited for it. And I really think this is where God's calling me to. I'll do my normal link my photos album. I'll add some new photos, and I will put in the team's Instagram and my fundraising page, which I will have to fundraise. So if any of you guys would like, if you didn't get a chance to fundraise or donate to my partnership last year, I would love for you guys to donate. Or if you just see this and you're like, I have an extra $10 lying around, I could help Nick go to Ireland for another year. That would be much appreciated. And yeah, and I'll also try to be reaching out to most of you guys individually who see this and ask if you guys want to donate and help me come back to Ireland next year. I only have to run fundraise about €5,000 to come back, which is really good. But it's still 5,000, so I still have to fundraise that. But it's going to be really exciting. I'll be home back in America for just about a month, which is a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but all in God's will. So yeah, it's everything that's been happening with me. Please keep me in your prayers. And I always pray for you guys every day. I offer up mass for all of y'all. And so yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys next month. I'll really try to do get back to my monthly video letters. I know this one is probably like 20 minutes or something like that. I haven't been seeing the count, but hopefully you watched all the way through, and yeah, see you.